All right, let's get into your Blue Rush post-game show, your Giants post-game show for the New York Post Sports. I'm Brandon London, alongside of with Andrew Crane. Andrew, Giants dropped 2-7 on the season, 34-24 loss at home. I'm here at the stadium now. I'm in the performance locker room, and I use the term home loosely because I don't know if you saw it on the broadcast. There was just seas of red. 49ers fans tried to take over the entire stadium at the end of the game, which you can't even blame them for it. Let's get into your takeaways. But before I go throw to you, everybody, get into the chat. We want to hear from you guys. Let's make this as interactive as possible to see how you guys are feeling. But Andrew, where do you want to start with this one, man? Because I mean, I could just fire things off on why the Giants beat themselves and lost this football game.
Yeah, Brendan, I think this is just maybe captures perfectly what the Giants season has been, right? Like just when they maybe get one side of the ball going, they can't kind of combine both together. The defense went kind of 5 possessions there around halftime. I think it was like field goal, punt, fumble, field goal, and another punt in some order, where they kept the touchdowns, away. And the offense after that opening drive just really struggled to find any rhythm really until the end. So I think that's kind of my takeaway, right? Like the defense again allowed like 380 yards. They struggled to contain Christian McCaffrey, similar to what we talked about last week when Tank Bigsby came in and had 100 yards. They let Brian Robinson Jr. Get a couple runs going too, and I think this is just kind of who the Giants are at this point. They're a team that is banged up. They lost some more players to injuries today. Darius Muasau left the game. John Michael Schmitz left the game. Jermaine Illuminor didn't play. This is just a banged up team struggling to put both sides of the ball together. Graham Gano missed the field goal. Like this is tough for them. When they get some momentum, they can't do anything to sustain it.
Yeah, you've seen that throughout the course of the season. I think that's why it's so frustrating, Andrew. Me being the in-game MC and an international fan ambassador, know this program, this franchise very well. And I think that's where the frustrations lie when it comes to former players, because the fan base as well, because you go through this high. You beat the Eagles, you beat the Chargers, you're riding this high, and you're like, okay, we found our QB1, our franchise quarterback. You got your Jeremy Shockey reincarnated in a running back in Cam Scatterbo. Boom, you lose to the Saints. Boom, after the Eagles, you lose. You lose to Denver. Scatterbo goes out for the rest of the year, and it's been this roller coaster ride of high and then just the ultimate crash into a low. And we talk about these injuries, and let's give them the secondary here, because the secondary was absolutely decimated with Paulson Adebo being out, Cordell Flott, who's I believe has been their best corner, out with the concussion, and then Javon Holland wasn't able to go today. Corey Black, who they drafted this year, but ended up going to the Jets, and them having to sign him off of the practice squad. You get him bumped up. It was like it was either you want to praise Kyle Shanahan for throwing so much at the rookie and putting him in some terrible situations, or you want to look at Shane Bowen and be like, why wasn't the rookie protected? And it's just been one thing after the next when it comes to this defense. And this is a defense, Andrew, that we all anointed to be a top 10 defense going into this league. I mean, into this year. On paper, they look like it. They just haven't been able to live up to that height consistently, game in, game out. And like you said, at this point, they are who what was it, Dennis Green? They are who we thought they are. They are what the record says they are, man.
And there are moments when you see that potential in the defense, right? That play when Burns kind of comes up behind Jones and knocks his arm, Abdul Carter kind of gets possession there. Like that's what this defense was supposed to be at its best.
Absolutely.
But then you see those plays where like Jawan Jennings just cuts the other way on Corey Black near the end zone and is wide open, for that touchdown.
Yeah. That was a sick ass route, by the way. Like
it was a receiver.
He ran the little snag, the whip route, the snag route, and his eyes just told all types of lies. And then I mean, I know it was.
I was gonna say, you know better than anyone, right? Those
No,
cuts,
but
those
I said
routes.
I had to give props on that one. I was like, ew, that was disgusting right there. But my bad to cut you off.
No, but you're right though. Like you wonder just how difficult that is for Corey Black to step into that situation and be in those spots. And look, the Giants made Mac Jones look like he was the star at Alabama again, right? He didn't throw an incompletion in the first half. He made the passes he needed to. He didn't try to do too much. It's the classic Kyle Shanahan recipe, right? Like you've seen it before with quarterbacks who can come in and, you know, take over when needed and make this offense still work. And the Giants lost Christian McCaffrey on a couple routes out of the backfield, which was kind of puzzling, right? You'd think you'd be able to keep track of the best player like that. But you're right. The secondary it has just been totally depleted by injuries. You know, and it's tough to sort of see the way they've been able to have to adapt and navigate to all those injuries.
Talk about Mac Jones. He ends the day 19 of 24, 235, 2 touchdowns on the day. If someone would have told me that I was supposed to play Mac Jones on my fantasy, or I was playing against Mac Jones in my fantasy football, then I would have thought that, all right, he's not going to do much. Not that guy, but he did. He had himself a solid day, like you said. Christian McCaffrey, 28 carries, a $106. That's only 3.8 yards per carry, and he got the touchdown. But it showed you how they were committed to the run game, not putting Mac Jones in terrible situations to where they were in 3rd and longs or 3rd and impossibles to give that pass rush a chance to get after him. But you look at the receiving stats, and it wasn't even anything great. Christian McCaffrey, 5 for 67 with a touchdown. Juwan Jennings, 4 for 41. Kendrick Bourne, 2 for 34. They had guys bottled up, I guess you could say, but it's how these guys were getting their catches and yardage. Like you say, guys wide open, and I knew that was going to be something to keep an eye on in terms of that communication on the back end with everyone being so banged up. But I thought that there would be a defense in place, a game plan in place, tailored around hiding Corey Black and Tay Banks, as opposed to or Kyle Shanahan just schemed it up to put those guys in a terrible situation. I want to go to some of the chats here before I go back to you. What's on the menu? Sports TV. We are Dumpster Juice. We are Dog Water. Andre Williamson, fire everybody. Coaching staff is terrible. Besides the injuries, the other team has injuries too. No excuses. I mean, I can just go on and on when it comes to these type of not compliments, these type of comments. And it's not just the chat. You heard it, throughout the stadium as well, with a lot of the people in the fan base upset with the product that's being put out there week to week. I guess let's flip and talk about the offense, because, obviously we could start with the positive. Jackson Dart, man, like, again, it's like me when I go shop at Burlington or Ross Dress for Less. I'm balling on a budget. I may only have, $150 to spend, but I'm going to come out of there with some fresh outfits and the turtleneck. Jackson Dart's doing the exact same thing, doing more with less. I am upset because there's a guy that was on a practice squad. There's a guy that was somewhat of an NFL journeyman. Anytime I got my opportunity at receiver, I'm going to make sure that I'm coming down with the pass. I may not get a yak or whatever. I'm coming down with that ball that's thrown to me. And I feel as though the weapons on the perimeter outside of Wan'Dale Robinson, I feel like 2 things. 1, they're failing Jackson Dart. 2, you're taking away your own money. This is your opportunity to come down with some of these balls, And it's just unfortunate that because of the record, you can't go be aggressive and use assets to go after a Chris Olave or a Jaden Waddle. Those are good storylines for people to talk about, throughout the week. They had to stay in-house because of the record, and guys in-house aren't stepping up to show Joe Shane or whomever in free agency or in the offseason that you don't have to go get my replacement. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, you saw the Theo Johnson drop, right? He had
Yeah,
the great touchdown, but another drop. I think Tracy might have had a drop. There's the ball to Slayton at the end in the end zone. He can't come
gotta
back.
have that. Gotta have that. Gotta
Those
have.
are exactly, those are moments you have to have, because otherwise you're putting Dart in a position where he's going to have to use his legs, and you wonder how many more of these hits can he take before he's truly, just getting crushed and needing to sit out a play, or anything worse than that, right? Like, he's taking all of these hits, and he's not afraid to lower his shoulder and go for those extra yards. And like, that's part of what the Giants love about him, right? They love that he's a guy who in the fourth quarter is still going to lead those 2 touchdown drives when the game looks over. But he just hasn't gotten enough help around him. The receivers have struggled. They haven't been able to consistently come down with those balls, like you mentioned. And over the course of the game, it adds up, right? Like, they looked great on that first drive. That was an impressive statement to go down the field and to sort of recreate some of that early game magic that you saw in those first 3 starts. And the Giants literally had the San Francisco punt unit on the field on that first defensive drive when it's 4th and 1. They call timeout, they go for it, and then it feels like the game kind of shifted after that moment, and the offense just never responds.
Yeah, and the run game has been absolutely pedestrian. And you talk about, not making Jackson Dart feels like he has to do it all. But I see why he feels as though he has to take those hits and fight for extra yardage. Because again, I said what I said about the perimeter, and I'll talk about some of the receiving stats. But here's what stands out to me, Andrew. And you can't win football games like this. If I was to tell you, I'm going to ask you in order, who do you think were the leading rushers in order? Go top 3 for the Giants. Names.
Oh, at one point in the first half, I looked, and I think Singletary had a bunch of yards. So I would go Dart as the leading rusher, Singletary, and Tracy.
Tell him what he's won, a brand new car. You are correct. Jackson Dart, 8 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Devin Singletary, 8 for 43. Tyrone Tracy Jr., 5 for 18. We talk about Scatterboo being missed. And I thought it was like when Cam Scatterboo came onto the scene, I'm thinking it was because, Tyrone Tracy was hurt. They had a pedestrian run game in the first 2 games before he went down. But I'm thinking it's because they couldn't get anything going in the throwing game and the passing game, and the offense was just stale. No, it really showed that they really missed Cam Scatterboo running the football today. And I know he hasn't broke 100. He had 98 in one of his games, but he was having chunk runs of over 10 yards, 15 here, 20-something here. And that's what the Giants' offense is really lacking and has been lacking throughout the court. Well, obviously since he's been down, but if you look at it as a whole, they haven't been able to create any sort of explosive runs. And now you're putting all this pressure on your rookie quarterback and a receiver core without a true alpha in it after Malik Neighbors went down. And it's just, 1, it's not winnable. 2, it's not sustainable. And 3, when we talk about being able to evaluate Jackson Dart, I'm almost ready to sit him, bro. I'm ready to sit him like he's a 10-year vet, because I don't want nothing to happen to him going into next year, because he and Brian Burns are the 2 pieces that I'm looking at from this year. Or obviously Abdul Carter as well, that are like, okay, you guys are definitely, I'm calling you guys core guys in terms of turning this ship around.
Yeah, you saw that again with Burns today, right? To go off of that point, like the hit on Jones that forced the turnover. And then on the 3rd down, I think after the Giants had scored in the second half, he kind of bats the pass down, forces a punt. And those are just the plays that like your best players make. And Burns has really, really blossomed here in the second, kind of season here in New York with the Giants. And, those are the plays that you need your top defenders to make. And the Giants haven't been able to get that consistently from other defenders. And they also haven't been able to get that on the other side of the ball either, right? You're sort of just, you can't win with spurts here and there, or you can't win with flashes. You can't win with like the occasional great play. Like, you need to string some together, and you need them from a variety of players. And right now on defense, it feels like Burns is kind of the only one making those plays.
Yeah, and you're wasting a season. You're wasting one of his prime years, his prime seasons. I don't think he's ever had a year where he's had more than, I believe, 12 and a half sacks on the career. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, this is Spider-Man. Like, I'm like, this dude should have like a 15 sack, 16 sack season. It's because he was playing with the Panthers when they were dog-ish. And now in the third, fourth quarter, the teams weren't having to throw the football, just run the football, because you got a pedestrian offense on the other side. It's looking like the same thing again, but he has just been lights out and has been finding ways to get to the quarterback. You don't want to waste a season for a guy like that who is still playing his ass off, play in, play out, running to the football. He's chasing the football. And if there's anybody, Kayvon's having, a pretty solid season as well. If there's anybody that could, like, you talk about guys, everyone's always like, who's that leader in the locker room that could step up and that can say something? A lot of the times, Andrew, if you ain't been balling, if you ain't been playing well, shut up, go play well, and then come back and you can talk. Brian Burns is probably the guy who can talk, who can say, hey, we need to step this up. Hey, we need to match my effort, match my intensity. And we haven't been able to see that from collectively from guys. I'm going to get to these comments a little bit more. Jim Ramsdale, I've been resisting the fire Dable calls all season. Today changed my mind. It's over with Dable. Jay, letting Deonte Banks dress and remain on the roster should get you fired. From week one, he has been running away from plays and staying engaged in blocks, so he won't have to tackle. Never seen this ever. Brian Carey, third game in a row, defense let up 30+. Even though he doesn't have weapons, Dart would be winning games if he had an average defense. And then James says Dable's offense let Saquon and DJ get beat up. Now it's hurting Dart. No push from O-line. Nothing has changed in 4 years. That's just where we are, man. And, I talk to Jared all the time, or I talk to the guys, and I'm just like, bro, I'm just tired how everything is just like a big pile on when it comes to this team. But this team has refused to change the narrative about them. And I think the biggest thing that stood out to me, Andrew, and sorry for being long-winded right now, I'll throw it to you right after this, is there was a 3rd and 3 that they had around midfield. They were driving. They were slowly putting together, little small play here, positive play here. It was a 3rd and 3. Marcus Bowe, rookie right tackle who stepped in for Illuminar, back-to-back false start penalties, and that put them in 3rd and 13 instead of 3rd and 3. You know what happened? They had to check down because Robert Saleh, D coordinator, played that too high. Shell kept everything in front of them. They rallied, make the tackle, boom, Giants punt. It's just been player after player, bad mistake after bad mistake. And you saw Theo with the drop, Darius Slayton with the drop. And it's like, you want people to defend you. You don't want a Carl Banks to say things or attack players for being an in-house person. But it's like the movie Jerry Maguire, help me, help you. We can't change that narrative about this team. They have to. And, I mean, with X amount of games left, that was week 9 going into week 10 now, 6, 7 games left. Would you say they're showing they are who they are?
And when you're a 2-7 team without so many of your best players or without so many of your starters, your margin for error is so small, especially when you're playing against a 49ers team. Like the opening 2 drives until that 4th down conversion by San Francisco went as perfectly probably as it could have gone for the Giants. They're up 7-0. They have a 4th down situation. Like, you make that play, it's different. Or you mentioned the 3rd and 3 and then the 2 penalties, right?
Yeah.
Like, you convert that, maybe it's different. But I think what the Giants have known for the last few years and are finding out this year is that when you're a team with a poor record and with players who are struggling to string together strong plays, your margin for error is almost invisible. Like it has to be the perfect game for you to win. And you saw that against the Eagles. You saw that against the Chargers. Those wins, it went so well. And when something goes wrong, it doesn't take much to flip a game when you have a team like the Giants have this year. And, you talk about the rest of the season, and it's the same thing, right? Like a lot of these key players are hurt, and Neighbors is not coming back. Scadaboo's not coming back. And your margin for error is not increasing at all. So they if they want to, win 2 more games the rest of the season, win 3 more, whatever it ends up being, like they almost have to be the perfect game from start to finish without any of these plays that just completely ruin drives for them.
You know what we haven't even talked about? It's like it's more pile on right now. Graham Gano with the missed kick.
Yeah.
How? I am just baffled on how the kicking game continues to be a problem. And we talked about Brian Burns forcing the interception to Abdul Carter got that one, where Abdul Carter gets his first career interception. It's almost like as a defense, you're pissed at yourselves because you didn't go score. It's almost like, oh, I should have had a better block. I should have held the left tackle up a little bit more. So Abdul, like you're upset with yourselves that you didn't go in and score there, because one, I think the offense, I think they didn't push the ball into the end zone or anything with that short field. They kind of let Salah and the 49ers defense kind of dictate what it is that they did. But in that moment, to go down one possession, especially going into halftime where the 49ers were going to get the football back, that it just absolutely can't happen. And when I tell you we talk about they have to have that perfect game, and they have to do something very creative, or it has to be something that just goes, the football guys have to be on their side for them to create momentum. You got the play, the turnover to spark the momentum. And then you got an opportunity to go down one possession to kind of sustain the momentum. And when that kick was missed, you should have heard the stadium was just like, not safe for words. I can't repeat what there were little kids saying at that moment when he missed that field goal. And it is, I mean, at this point, what do you do? What do you do about the kicking situation?
It's almost unfathomable that this conversation has to keep happening across weeks and seasons, right? Like we've had the Graham Gano conversation for a couple of years now, just because of how injured he is. And, obviously he was able to come back last week, but then again, this week, he misses the kick. The one he made wasn't exactly like down the middle, clear cut kick either, right? Like it kind of like it was going to hook a little bit, at least based on the angle on the broadcast. That drive after the turnover, the part that puzzled me was the first play call after the turnover was a run to Tracy that I think went for no gain. And that felt like, when you get the momentum off a turnover, you have your young quarterback. Maybe he doesn't have the same receiver weapons, but like he and Theo Johnson in the end zone have been good the last couple of weeks. Like, I don't know, Brandon, did it feel like they should have like taken a shot at the end zone there? Like you go for it, as opposed to like we've talked about for the last couple of weeks now, like they don't really have a running game. Like, why do you give the ball to Tracy in that spot?
I would have wanted them to be aggressive with the play calling there. Yes. And even if you want to control it here, I would have some sort of extension of a run, maybe a RPO, maybe some sort of bubble screen to Wandale. You know what I mean? Like getting someone into space, because you're forcing these in between the tackle runs, and it ain't working. It was not working at all. So in that moment, you would want to, that's where I thought Daves and Kafka was going to be like, all right, let's put the ball in the hands of our rookie. And it's funny that we're saying that, put the ball into the hands of the rookie, but he is the playmaker on the team. And then you're in the situation to where, just think of what a touchdown would have done right there. That first play, which is the most important play, after a sudden change, I'm not just conceding and just trying to get 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I wanted Dabes and Kafka to really put the ball into Dart's hand at that moment and be like, you know what? We got a route concept here. If it ain't there, take off with your legs, because he could get you 3 or 13 with his legs, off of improving and trying to extend the play with his legs. So yeah, it was unfortunate, man, because when you saw that and now it went into a 2nd and 10 type situation, you kind of knew that you were playing into the hands of the 49ers, because you don't want to be backed up like that. On first down, Andrew, our goal, first down, you get at least 4 yards. Don't care if it's run, pass, whatever. Get 4 yards because you stay ahead of the sticks. If you get nothing, you're backed up, and now you put the offense in a terrible situation when you haven't been able to do much at that point of the game. Let's get some more of these comments, man, before we start to wrap up a little bit. 25 minutes in on this one. Thank you guys for rocking with this, man. Like, I know we would love a little bit more positive comments, and you guys would love to be a little bit more of a positive fan base right now, but I can't tell y'all how to feel. A Chip says, horrible gut feeling they keep Shane and only get rid of the coaching staff. Shane is just as accountable. Team has no depth. Playmakers. The coach plays scared. He doesn't call plays to win, but not lose. They have to change everything again. James says, I agree. David Parrish, Dart needs to be protected like gold, but Dable's play schemes are still unpredictable, like a guy who knows he's gone. Brian Carey, Theo Jobson, bad coaching. This is just where it is. Like, there's no hiding this. There's no putting, lipstick on the pig in this situation. Fan base is really upset right now with the Giants dropping this game to the 49ers. Andrew, final thought, man. I usually say, like, kick us home, but too soon. Like, I guess just wrap us up here, man.
Yeah, I think the thing I keep coming back to off today's game is just the part of Dart taking all of these hits. Schmitz left injured, Illuminor was out. There was the play in the first half where Dart didn't even see the 49ers defender coming from behind him out of the end zone. And somehow he held on to the ball. Like, that was, I guess, impressive. But, like, the fact that he had to take that hit wasn't good. There was one on, like, one of the final drives where he got kind of crushed in, like, the left shoulder area, and then took another hit from a second San Francisco defender coming in from behind as well. And I don't know, you mentioned it, right? Like, you want Dart to be at his best at the start of next season. You don't want to risk injuries that could linger. You want to see what you have in this quarterback to set you up for next year, when Neighbors would be back, when Scadaboo's back, when maybe the defense figures out how to maximize the talent they have in their front, kind of rushers, right? That's, the health of Dart to me is just like, there's so many hits when you just like kind of like wince almost, right? Like, you can feel the impact of that hit. And you just wonder how many of those hits he can continue to take. How will Dable try to protect him more? Do they try to convince him to not run as much? Sort of like the Josh Allen way with the Bills, right? Like, wanting to protect him from himself, but then you lose, like, your leading rusher, right? Yeah. Like, you lose that part of your offense. And so to me, it's like, how do they sort of protect Dart the rest of the year? Do they let him be himself and risk the injury? Do they try to save him from himself and maybe lose some of the offense? That to me is the interesting question, at least on offense, the rest of the
year. Here's where I'm talking out of two sides of my mouth, because again, I want to wrap that kid up in bubble wrap and just ship him to next season. But at the same time, you kind of have opportunity to have both the offensive player rookie of the year and the defensive rookie of the year in an Abdul Carter. Abdul doesn't have the sacks, but he leads the league in quick pressures, or I guess either quick pressures or like total pressures or something like that. I got to look that up to make sure I get that right. But now he has an interception on his belt. So you got that. And then what rookies offensively are really tearing it up right now, and it's a QB type award. So the Giants can have the opportunity to have a terrible record, but also have the offensive and defensive rookies of the year. I think that keeps the fans engaged. That keeps the people buying the PSL season tickets and all, because now you have something to look forward to. You got the offensive stud and you got the rookie, you got the defender, the rookie defender on the other side with the Brian Burns and the Kayvon Thibodeau. So it is, I don't know. You're gonna have to wrap him like what's that movie, the Christmas movie where he's all wrapped up in all that snow gear. You're gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like he's a competitor. That kid's gonna want to go out there and play. But yeah, A Chip called it. May have off Roy and D Roy and only 2 wins at the end of the year. If that were to happen, that is so Giants. Like that would be so Giants. But at the end of the day, could be doing something great for the future. All right, y'all. Keep your heads up, Giants fans. There's always next week. The Giants going to go out to Chicago to play the Bears. I will be in Germany with the Big Blue Germany crew for a watch party over there with them. So, Andrew, I'll be in Germany when I can see you, and it's going to be it's like 12 a.m., 1 a.m. Their time over there. So make sure you practice your German, because I might be a little bit fluent next week, or at least think I am when we talk. But hopefully the Giants can get some sort of win, man, to get some sort of high, get the fan base, get people energized at least for another week. For Andrew Crane, I'm Brandon London. Thank you guys for watching your Blue Rush post-game show. My light just went out, so there you go. We got it.